you are troubleshooting why your logs or your data in general isn't making it from from AWS Firehose to Coralogix, there are a few steps you need to do to make sure that you can work out where in the chain it isn't working. Obviously, it can fail for thousands of different reasons, but typically this is a very robust connection. So it usually pays to start investigating of where the actual failure is. So to start with, we have our Firehose deployment here. We have a Firehose stream. You have metrics here on the monitoring tab that will tell you about delivery. So for example, this has got some Lambda processing going on here, but look for these delivery metrics, okay? And look for the one that you're interested in. In this particular case, it's HTTP endpoint delivery. And I'm looking for HTTP delivery success. If you see this number drop below 100, and if no logs are appearing, this really should be 0, then you know the issue is how you've configured Firehose or some issue with the Coralogix endpoint. So that's a really great start. If there's an issue with how you configured Firehose, return to the documentation, return to these videos, and try and understand exactly how it's been put together. You will work it out. But typically, it's a very, very simple integration. So it shouldn't be too difficult to work out what's gone wrong. If you can't work out what's going wrong, of course, check out the Coralogix application. You can click the support right here, and people will be able to help you if indeed, in the rare occasion, there is a problem with the endpoint. The next thing to look at is Livetail. So Livetail is great because it actually shows you the logs the millisecond they're arriving in the Coralogix platform. So you can see just the second they arrive. This is like a real-time stream. If you're seeing something here, then you know the data is arriving in Coralogix successfully. If they aren't then being indexed or they're being blocked or for whatever reason, then you can continue searching, but this is a really good sign because it means your integration is all working great and there's some configuration within Coralogix. The next thing to do is check out your parsing rules. So parsing rules are used to transform incoming logs to make sure that they're processed in the right way. So this is obviously a very log-driven example here, but we can see, for example, that if we define a log group here, we can say, for example, a block rule group, or you can actually block logs based on other reasons as well. So I'll give you an example here. So this block rule, look for these block rules. They can really make their way in quite quickly, and what they will do is they will actually prevent your data from being indexed or even processed by the platform in any way. So this is really useful for any data with PII or anything like that, but you may have misconfigured this. So if you have any block rules, just look for the regular expression to make sure that you're not accidentally catching any logs that you don't want to block. If, after all of that, you don't find any block rules, the data's appearing in Livetail, your Firehose metrics are looking good, then check out the TCO quota optimizer. So this actually, people are familiar with the frequent search monitoring and compliance rules. If you add a policy, you can actually set it to, you can make sure that it actually blocks it entirely as well, which another way that the data can't appear. So either the data's been blocked entirely, or one of your policies has got it on a lower use case. So for example, if a policy is capturing it as compliant, it will go straight to the archive and it won't be indexed. That means it won't appear in the example of logs. It won't appear in the logs explore screen, which is a real problem because if you need it to query an index, then it has to be there. So when you use a TCO optimizer, review the policies you have in place and make sure that the logs you want are making it to the appropriate use case. Remember, frequent search is your best guarantee of finding, of making sure you have access to every single feature. For those really important logs, definitely use frequent search. So these are just different steps you can take throughout the entire life cycle from your application through to the Coralogix application to make sure that data is flowing. The final thing I will say is just simply make sure that incoming data is appearing in Firehose as well. I left this one to the last because most people don't have this problem, but occasionally we do see it where the customer is saying, well, my Firehose data isn't arriving, and we look at the incoming bytes and we see nothing. We're like, oh, well, okay, of course nothing's appearing. So just make sure your integration between whatever application you've got and Firehose is working before you start this whole journey as well. But that's just a quick other one. Everyone makes mistakes. So yeah, and if none of this works for you and the data still isn't appearing, definitely push this green button. Someone will be with you in under a minute, most likely 30 seconds. So definitely dig into that, and hopefully that'll help you understand where the problem is. But with a bit of luck, you won't have any issues whatsoever because these integrations are like 2 clicks, fully automated, and really easy.